Hey guys, you're watching one and only. My name is AJ. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Build a Castle. I don't know why, but quite recently at the beginning of each intro, I always touch my cap or move my cap. Stop doing that. Your cap's fine. It's sitting flush on your head. You don't need to touch it. It always annoys me when people do that with their hair and they twiddle their hair and stuff like that. Don't do it. It's fine. You don't need to touch it. Today we're going to be working inside of the dining hall today, and I'm actually looking forward to this quite a lot because there's quite a large area here to fill, which means we can make a really nice dining room. A dining room is a very important part of a castle. It's got to be a very beautiful part of the castle with 98 because it's sort of the main hub of where, you know, the king and stuff is going to meet and do a load of stuff. So we want it to be really quite, what would be a good word? Prestigious. We want it to be quite prestigious, don't we? And I think we can do that. I think we can get that sort of prestigious look by using a couple of very simple tactics. I don't know if most of you should know, but if you don't, before I was a YouTuber, before I'd done YouTube, I was a property developer. So basically, I would buy a house that is in a poor state of repair, and I would do it up. I would fix any holes and build parts onto it if it needs it. Paint the inside was one of the most important parts of it. You know, make it look aesthetically pleasing to the new buyer. And there's a couple of features that I want to try and incorporate from that into this dining room. The first one being is a dining room, a nice big grand dining room, should have a fireplace. It really should have a fireplace. Even if we don't put a chimney on the top of the castle, it should have a fireplace. Now, there's two options that we can use for that. Number one is brick, which I think we're going to go for. Or two, you could potentially get away with nether brick as well. I don't think I'm going to use nether brick, but I mean, you get the full block, the stair, and the slab variant, so you get the ability to make quite a complicated sort of looking fireplace. You know, we get it with bricks as well, but maybe if you wanted a darker look, you could go with the more nether brick approach. If you wanted a little bit more of a darker, we might use nether brick a little bit more in the basement because it's a very dark block and it gives it that sort of dark feeling. But I think for this sort of grand, it's meant to be a good king castle, isn't it? You know, it's meant to be a good person. Then I think we should use brick. We also want this to be wider than our normal sort of one block fireplace. So we want to either go 2 or 3, depending on the room here. Now we've got 4 blocks on that side. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we've technically got 4 blocks on this side, apart from one of them is a log. Do we need that there? We don't need that there. That is the interior pillar to the tower. But we don't need the interior ones there. So we can take these away, shave a little bit off, and then it makes it a nice even square 4 blocks on either side. We don't need it that deep, though. We don't want to take up too much room inside of the castle with this. So we're going to leave it just 1 block deep for the fire, but 3 blocks wide. And I think we'll have something like this and something like that as the main tower. Then we want to add some stairs and some sort of detail to the place. I think I'm going to do something like that. And then either walls or iron bars. I think I'll go with iron bars like that. Oh, that's upside down. Like that. And like that. I'm going to put another slab in here. You could put stairs there like that. I think I like it much better with a full block. And then along the top, we want something quite snazzy. Ooh, that's quite snazzy, how that sort of wraps around like that. And then have a slab in the middle. You know, that's a really nice big open fireplace. You could probably get away with bringing that whole lot down by 1. But I think that's pretty nice. I think I like that. You could even, because these are the bottom half of the block, you could actually put things on top like flower pots and stuff. Will actually sit on top of the fireplace really nicely. Fern. We'll have a fern in one and leave the other one empty. Yeah, I like that. That's nice and simple. We could... No, we can't. We can't. I was going to say that we could make the back of that brick as well, but we can't because that's actually the outside wall. We'll have to leave that as stone brick. I'm not really too worried with that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to make this into a fireplace by putting nether rack at the bottom and lighting it. This could be a really bad idea. Is that another flint and steel? Oh, flint and fossil. Whatever that is. This could be a bad idea. It might spread over to here. But we're in this room anyway, so we should be able to check. And I don't think there's anything that important on the outside if it burns the outside first. I think it's right there, isn't it? That's where I think it is anyway. Well, nothing has gone wrong quite yet. The other thing that I want to do is, which was a feature that we used to do in the property development job, was to actually just paint one of the walls different to the other walls. So if we leave 3 of the walls stone brick, which is what I like, but make one of them a different colour, it'll work really well. And it's the same with very prestigious houses as well. That's what we tried to bring in to the sort of cheaper market. And there's a few different options that we can go for here. I was half thinking of actually a dark oak wood, but potentially a dark clay, like a brown clay, could work as well. And you might be thinking, ew, brown? Really? Why brown? Because a lot of this room is actually going to be very light. You know, I want a nice white tabletop. We'll use like a white carpet on top of some pistons probably for a nice tabletop. We want royally red chairs, you know, very regal. I think we'll wrap this around here. So having one brown wall for a little while is going to look a little bit odd. I might take it away at the end. It looks very odd here at the moment, but I can definitely see the potential. It would probably work better if those windows were a little bit more centered, but hopefully we'll be able to sort of get around that by putting something here, even if it be a painting. Painting on the fireplace wouldn't be a bad start either. Like a too wide one, a too high one. Yeah, I think that fits like really well. It really finishes that whole area off, doesn't it? Okay, so for the table, we want to have pistons. And we're going to have to power them from underneath, but we can actually go underneath the place to do that. Yeah, I can place them like that. So, we want to have this table as big as possible. We actually want this to use up as much of the room as we can. So, for a length, I think if we had a chair here, and a chair there, or potentially next to the table, that's a pretty good length. Maybe you could get away with one more there, and one more there. And then for the width of the table, I think we go for a 5-block wide table. So we get like this 5 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 5 by... Well, that's an easy number, isn't it? 5 by 10. That can't be a bad one. Table length here. Table size. And then we're going to have to extend them from underneath. We're in the blacksmith area below, so we don't need a huge amount of headroom. So I'm really not bothered about sort of having to drop the ceiling down by what's going to be 2 below. Because obviously 1 block is going to be redstone blocks, or however else you want to power it. Redstone blocks is just the easiest. But then you're going to have to put a block below that as well to cover up the redstone blocks, aren't you? So you're actually technically dropping the roof down to the height of the top of the windows. Now, if you're in a building or a house that you want to do this table design with, but you don't have sort of 8 blocks of headroom to begin with, and you only have like a normal house width, then potentially if you're working in the basement, you could drop this down a level or 2. So you could like have everything else on the normal level, and then when you get to the room that has this lowered roof area, you can drop it down a step or 2. It'll give a lot more sort of character to the basement, you know, having this sort of downward area, or you know, just 1 or 2 steps down is all that's necessary. But it still keeps that headroom that you'd want to have. Now, I want to have a nice white sort of tablecloth over this. I'm going to first start off by covering the entire lot of it. But we'll probably find that in a moment we'll have to remove some of this to put in dinner plates, and we always put a cake on top of the table. It's always like the first thing that we have to do. Now we do have other cakes as well, but I'm going to go with the normal cake. You can put another cake down. I'm going to go with the normal cake. Now we've got 5 by 10, which means we don't have an exactly middle point. So 2 cakes is the way that we're going to make this look symmetrically nice. Now the cakes are fortunately nearly a full block, so you can't really tell that the carpet sort of ends there. And then another thing that you can do, can we put pressure plates on top of pistons? We can't. So we're going to have to use some other sort of carpet design, like a grey-ish carpet. I think dark grey would probably be good, as little table cloths or table mats, plate mats. Again, we've got this sort of problem of it being an even number. That makes things ever so awkward. I mean, we could, if we made this 11, 5 by 11, that would solve quite a lot of problems. And then we could make a middle point for our cake. I know it's a shame to lose a cake. No one likes losing a cake. But I think it might be necessary. I'm only going to have one end space for the king. If we had another end space, who would sit there? Who would have the privilege of sitting there? Is it sofa? Couch? There. We'll use these red ones. I know I said that we were trying to sort of stick with vanilla blocks for this series. But you know what? I think we can get we're allowed to maybe use like a few little model blocks. We used crystals as the chandelier in here, and we've used flags. So we've tried to keep it vanilla, but we've had a little bit of sort of additions in there. I've kept like a couple of chairs like one block out. I think it gives a little bit more life to the place. And then I think I would like to have a couple of candles lit on here. Now, oops, this is the only thing that I'm never really that happy with. Because we actually have to remove like 2 of the carpets, leaving these piston heads to put torches on top to make it look like a really tall sort of wax posh candle. It also gives some nice light in the room as well. The only thing that or the only way I can make myself feel better is pretending that this is sort of the base to the candle, and it's sitting on like this little plate. That's the only sort of thing that makes me feel a little bit better with that. Now, this brown wall, obviously bushes are going to be around the room, but we'll only put those in at the end. Here, it would be really nice to have, a suit of armor wouldn't be a bad idea. Now, we don't have armor stands in here. This is only 1.7. So, to get around that, we could actually use custom NPCs. Put him down. Don't show the name. And we want him to be standing, animation, normal rotation, manual. Oh, what way is he facing? Okay, we need to make him rotate 90 degrees. Most of the time, things rotate by in clockwise. Yeah, so that's good. So he shouldn't move now or look. Living anima. Oh, can I turn living animation off? Where's living animation? I've seen it here before, and it'll stop his arms from moving. No, there we go. So now he's complete mannequin look. Now, what armor do we have in here? Like guard? Nope. Chest. There must be some really cool sort of guard looking armor. Obviously chainmail would be a good one. What about helmet? Maybe that would give us a good idea. Well, have a look at what that looks like, because if that covers up the mannequin face, that would be so sweet. Oops, I need the one to access his internals again. Inventory. You know, that covers up most of his face. What is that? Full iron helmet. Iron. It's just like a full iron helmet. Full iron chest plate. We don't want them to have a skirt. Some armies use like skirts for. I think we'll just use other normal iron armor to fill the rest out, apart from the chest. Oh yeah, I like that chest. It's sort of a little bit bigger. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Now, you could get a skin that looks like a mannequin, or like a wooden mannequin. I mean, you could go around here and guess if you, or grab one, or guess a player's name. Like, I wonder if there's a player called Wood, and he just has like a wood texture. Nope, but there is a player called Wood. Okay, there's our player. There's Wood, the player. A nice carpet going around the edge here. We can sort of make it look like it would go underneath the table. So, we don't want to use red because that's the chairs. I think we go with a light grey and a light blue to try and keep it as subtle as possible. And we're going to have a nice blue ring around here first, and then use the light grey to sort of maybe accent it a little bit. That's weird. Nope. Like this. And around here. And then I think we'll use the grey like that. So we just put like 3 on the corner. It sort of looks tassely, but has a sort of nice sort of shape to it. Now the brown wall is actually not looking as bad anymore, as we're starting to fill everything up in here now. Maybe a border across the top of that would help. It's not log, it's wood. Along the top of here. It'll just break that up a little bit. Do I want it to come down like that or like that? I think probably like that. Or we could have them all facing that way. Oh yeah, now that's helped. And then I want something. Oh, we want maybe a big painting, a 2x2 painting. Nothing too evil. That's a little bit evil. That's too big. One like too big. Like the candle one would be really nice. Something like that. Sort of something a little bit more friendly. Let's reduce our options a little bit. That's a good one. Nice, yeah, fire in the dining room. We got a fire on the other side. That makes a lot of sense. What else? I've got like chandeliers. We can have some small chandeliers here. I've got some images of real... Hello, cave sound. Of real castle dining rooms on my other monitor. Place that there. Good. And... hang on. That one. That one. Yeah. We'll use the crystals again. We'll just go with white, though. Nice, simple white. We don't need too many on here. You know, maybe 4 on the... or 5 is out on the top, and then 1 below. And then what we'll do is we'll put some iron bars or some glass panes. What did I use in there? Did I use iron bars or glass panes? Iron bars. Maybe we should change that to glass panes. I think I saw a couple of comments suggesting that. I don't think I like the end ones. No, I do like the end ones. I do like the end ones. Maybe I should do that on the main chandelier in the other place as well. At least on the ones on the outside. So, like, the inside ones... I think that will actually really help. I mean, I like the iron bars. I had no problem with it. If I didn't like them, I would have changed them as soon as I'd put them down. But already, I think I'm preferring this. I'm pretty sure a couple of you guys mentioned it anyway. And up the top here. Look at that. I didn't misclick once. Yeah, you know what? I think that's an improvement. I think it looks a little bit more sort of glassy and crystally. 2 of them, I think, is a really nice touch. They're nice, you know, they're smaller, but they work really well. Then I want a little bit of a beading around the rest of the room. Probably, I think we'll go with the dark oak. It sort of goes in well with the wood here, the clay woody bit here. I'm just gonna wrap this around. There's a bit of a coving in the dining room here. Coving is sort of an old school thing that doesn't really happen in houses anymore. my bathroom used to have coving in it until only a couple of years ago, but it doesn't happen that often anymore. It's mostly, you know, just nice square corners. But in these sort of times, coving was definitely all of the rage, just like what everybody wanted. I think that really, really helps. And it still looks good in Minecraft. Okay, let's grab these slabs just to accent the top of the doors like we've got on the other side. And then have some plants. Now, I want some plants bigger than others. We'll go with the podzol and normal leaf design with trapdoors. But instead of having them all just 1 block wide, how about if we made some of them a little bit wider? So we like make this one 3 blocks wide over here. And we do either like that or like that. I think I like that one better. It sort of leans to more towards the fire. And the same on this side. Ooh, didn't like podzol. Nope, don't put down... we could make a player look like a plant, maybe. Put him in a ghillie suit. No one will ever know that I'm here. And we'll do that one. So it's sort of it's symmetrical. I like that sort of lean towards the fire there. We do have a nice spot in the middle here. This might work, or it might inhibit the sort of entranceway. No, I think that one works pretty well there. Obviously, either side of the mannequin would be nice. The only problem is with that is that we can't put down trapdoors here because of this carpet, unless I remove it. I mean, do I want to not change? Oh, I don't like that anyway. It's too close to the mannequin. Nope. I was thinking, you know, do I want to change the carpet, the entire carpet, for just one plant? But it didn't really look that good there anyway. Mind you, we've still got the same problem here. Leaf, sneeze, chew, 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 chew. Right, am I finished? I think I'm good. Whew. I think I'm fine. I think I'm alive now. Shelf. We should have like underneath there. I want like a staggered shelf, maybe like that. Something nice and simple, not too big. You know, we don't want it to stand out too much. And then some smaller paintings above it. Like, yeah, like that one. And like that one. Not much we can do on this side. I could put a... That's the same one as that one. I want the other one. What's the other one? Like, it's another person, isn't it? But it's more of a, like, back of a female. I always assume that to be, like, a female, but I don't know what it actually is. That's sort of what has, you know, what it images as, what it looks like to me in my head. Okay, I think this is pretty nice. I think this is a pretty cool looking dining room here. Is there anything else? I mean, there's a lot of table detail that we just can't get to, you know, that we can't do here in Minecraft. Maybe a nice red tulip in the other one would look nice, but yeah, like cutlery and stuff like that would really help. We've got the paintings on the wall. The only other thing is mirrors, but we don't have mirrors here in Minecraft unless you're in my city world. Ooh, torches. We can pretend that these are candles on the fireplace. I think that's a nice height. I think that really sort of dresses that area up quite nicely. And you know what we could do? Slabs. Like a white. Maybe. There. So we can have like... It sort of looks a little waxy. Or actually use candles. Can I put these on the wall? Oh, they do connect to the wall. I thought they were only like on the floor things. But look at that. They actually connect to the... Oh, the game changer. The complete game changer. And like that. Do I want one on there? One there and one there? Yeah. Wow. Okay, that's really lit this room up. I'm actually quite interested to see what this looks like with the shaders on. Now, these shaders do always darken up the interior quite a lot. So you have to be very careful with lighting when you're doing an interior. Yeah, look at that nice warm glow. And it might change a little bit as our eyes adjust. Nope, that's good. I like that. Hey? And the other thing I do like about the shader pack is that when you're holding like a torch in your hand, it'll light up the area. Caving would be really fun with shaders on, because you could actually travel through a dark cave and not have to put torches down to see. You could just sort of wander around with a torch. If I go into the basement, oh, look at that, it's beautiful. We might be able to see it a little bit better, look. Oh, hey, mobs. Pretty sure I put the... Yeah, I put the game mode on peaceful, like right here at the beginning of the episode. Look at that. Set game mode peaceful before I started recording. It's right there. How did they come back? But yeah, so we can actually wander around with a torch in our hand and light up as we go. That's so cool. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you haven't already, then feel free to subscribe. We shall see you in the next episode, where I think we'll be across the hallway into the ballroom. Bye.